Mysterious fantasy plus refreshing text plus time travel plus stealing vegetables plus relaxed humor plus creating the first holy land for cultivating immortals, suddenly descended upon the ancient world and became the first peak of Qingyun Peak.Ye Qiu discovered that she had obtained a vegetable stealing system, which allowed her to plant elixirs and elixirs in her garden, with a maximum yield of tens of thousands of times. You can also travel through the portal to steal vegetables among the heavens and realms. Ye Qiu, who embarked on his first journey of stealing vegetables, discovered the owner of this Wanjie Vegetable Garden, and his tone was really impressive. There is a guy who claims to be the 9 heavens supreme, and surprisingly, the ones planted in his vegetable garden are flat peaches. There is also an unknown temple master who planted a ginseng fruit tree. There is also a bear named the one who loves to drink animal milk the most, and he keeps a rare chicken in his garden. Ye Qiu. Oh, you still live forever in Immortal Mansion, and live with heaven. You are not good at it, but you have a good voice. I took the ginseng fruit. Chapter 1. My life is like walking on thin ice, awakening to the Garden of 10,000 Realms at the beginning. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Brain storage area, handsome and pretty girl ranking. My life has been like walking on thin ice. Can I walk to the other side? Standing at the top of a high mountain, gazing thousands of miles into the majestic pass, the chasm blocking the horizon feels like an insurmountable chasm. Ye Qiu lost his sight and murmured to himself, I don't think you can. A girl's pleasant voice came in her ear. Immediately after, a young and childish voice also came, saying, I think Ruyan is right. Ye Qiu turned around and looked at the 2 young men in front of her. I finally had a little feeling of being destroyed. Just as I was about to reprimand them, I suddenly remembered something. Your name is Lu Ruyan. The girl nodded, unsure why. Your name is Qingyun. The young man nodded seriously and looked at Lu Ruyan, seeming to want to ask something, but ultimately did not speak. What's my name then? Upon hearing this news, Ye Qiu was shocked. Is it difficult? My name is Ye Qiu. Don't think you're pretending to have amnesia. You can forget the 5 copper coins you owe me, that's my monthly payment. Lu Ruyan suppressed her anger, not letting herself explode, and gritted her teeth as she spoke. For her 5 copper coins, she even called Ye Qiu by name. Yes, and mine too. Ito Cheng immediately agreed. Upon hearing their reply, Ye Qiu finally breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. Oh. It's okay, as long as you don't call that name, everything else is easy to say. Mainly because they had just crossed over and their memories had not yet been fully received, when they first learned their names, Ye Qiu was truly startled. But the result is still good, his name is still Ye Qiu. For the current situation, this should be the best news. As for the matter of not repaying the money owed, let's keep it for now. Although I don't have money now, I can't guarantee that I will have money in the future after carefully organizing the chaotic memories in her mind, for a long time. Ye Qiu finally recognized reality. Hee. I've gained a lot of experience. I've heard of someone who was struck by lightning or hit by a car, but it's the first time I've seen someone who was forced to cross. At the thought of her own outrageous experience, Ye Qiu couldn't help roast in her heart. Looking back at the 2 goods in front of her, Ye Qiu probably already knew her situation. He is a holy land for repairing the heavens, the chief disciple of Qingyun Peak, and can be said to exist under one person in the entire Qingyun Peak. Moreover, according to the information learned in Ye Qiu's memory, he will soon be covering up the sky. Because of this peak, there are only 2 people in total. An unlucky master, an unjust disciple. As the unlucky master's deadline approaches, Ye Qiu is about to inherit the throne. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud, but it felt a bit inappropriate. After all, the person hasn't left yet. As for Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng, they are the new entry-level miscellaneous disciples of the heavenly mending Holy Land, because Qingyun Peak is relatively poor and cannot offer monthly offerings. So basically not many people come here to do odd jobs. The two of them don't believe in evil, so they came as a result. They were delayed in their monthly payment for a month and began to believe it. Hee hee. What a big deal, don't worry, I owe you money, I will repay it sooner or later. How could my eldest disciple of Qingyun Peak, the first one in the future, make a default on monthly payments? Ye Qiu replied nonchalantly, as for which day it will still be. Let's talk more. Being poor is really poor. He can feel the anger in the hearts of these two unjust people, but after all, owing money to others makes him feel a bit guilty. Just hold on a bit. Hearing Ye Qiu's words, Lu Ruyan couldn't help rolling her eyes and roast. You'd better stop talking big. Just now I heard from the people at the inner door that the elder and other elders of various veins are discussing whether to remove the Qingyun Peak. As soon as these words were spoken, Ye Qiu's face immediately changed. How unreasonable. My master hasn't left yet, so he's in such a hurry to get rid of the burden and kill the donkey. Also, why is the meeting so important that no one has notified me? Do you still consider me as the head of the Qingyun Peak agency? Lu Ruyan rolled her eyes and said, I called, and I called twice. But you fell asleep. Ye Qiu. That's pretty good, at least I called. It indicates that I am still quite valued in my heart. I'll just say, it's a great holy land in the vast wilderness, and there's no need to do such a thing of shedding the burden and killing the donkey. Back then, his master was also considered a person who had sweated and worked for the heavenly holy land. Without merit, there was also hard work. But now this situation is a bit unfavorable. According to Ye Qiu's understanding, the other veins have long been dissatisfied with Qingyun Peak, only because Qingyun Peak has continued the tradition of single lineage transmission. And the disciples are not naturally supreme or world-shaking talents, let alone Ye Qiu himself. With average qualifications and 10 years of cultivation, the cultivation level only reached the 7th level of moving mountains. When you hear the name of this realm, you may think it's impressive, but in fact, moving mountains is just the first realm of cultivation. Up there are many other realms, such as Shaiyue, Dongtian, Luanhai, Ginseng, and Zuanji. This kind of qualification, placed in other mountains, is only suitable for being a laborer, but unfortunately, Ye Qiu's master does not believe in evil. Among thousands of people, he immediately took a liking to Ye Qiu and felt that he was the person he was looking for. Despite the opposition of others, he resolutely brought him back. He has ambitions and beliefs. Under his careful guidance, his disciple will one day become the proud son of heaven, stunning everyone. After 3 years of teaching, he quickly gave up. The look in Ye Qiu's eyes was full of disgust. Similarly, Ye Qiu looked at him with a look of disgust. After all, his master only shook the 10th level of you, which is just one level higher than Ye Qiu's. Master and disciple despise each other. But we have been together for 10 years, and they have been relatively happy. But this kind of happiness will soon be gone. Master of Ye Qiu, Qi Daosheng. Now the deadline is approaching. I have lived for over 200 years, and I am still unable to take the step of the cave. If he is unable to take this step and add to his life in the coming period, then waiting for him will be a situation of running out of oil and running out of lights. Although Ye Qiu didn't want to see such a situation, he was powerless. Sorrow. You guys go down. When I have money, I will send you monthly payments. It's really not possible. I'll sell this sword on me and I can pay you back. I'll rest assured to do your job, and I don't have to worry about anything else. Looking at the sword around his waist, Ye Qiu's mouth twitched, indicating that it was probably the most valuable thing in his hand. Lu Ruyan gave him a deep glance. If there was anyone who didn't want Qingyun Peak to go bankrupt at the moment, it might be the two of them. Because they do odd jobs at other peaks, they will suffer various humiliations, insults, and occasionally withhold monthly payments. Only at Qingyun Peak did they feel respected, and Ye Qiu was not as arrogant and domineering as the steward of other peaks, who liked to use his nostrils to criticize others when getting along with others. This month should have been the most comfortable for them in their daily life. The only downside is that although we don't arbitrarily withhold monthly payments here, he doesn't send them either. Her eyes twirled, but Lu Ruyan still felt a bit uneasy. She quickly pulled Ito Ching away from here. Ruyan, where are we going? Go to the inner gate and listen for any gossip. Watching the two of them leave, Ye Qiu fell into a moment of contemplation. The current situation may not be easy to break, and even if this meeting ultimately decides to keep Qingyun Peak, it is difficult to guarantee that they will bring it up again next time. A moment of hesitation filled my heart, and I remembered that my unlucky master was still in a closed door, which made my heart even more congested. Damn it! Thief, my goodness! Are you trying to play with me, right? Ye Qiu pointed at the heavens and was about to use the most malicious language to humiliate it harshly. Ding, What kind of noise? Suddenly, there was a ding sound in her mind, and the corner of Ye Qiu's mouth couldn't help but rise slightly. Is it, the Wanjie Vegetable Garden system is being activated, please wait. Hiss. Really? Wanjie Vegetable Garden. What kind of thing is this? Ye Qiu was taken aback. She had never seen this system before. Was it because she had read fewer novels? Or is it a newcomer? Congratulations, the system has been successfully activated. The Wanjie Vegetable Garden system opens up a vegetable garden for you to plant precious and spiritual herbs, and the soil can increase yield up to 10,000 times. Every time you complete stealing vegetables, the obtained items will automatically be converted into seeds and can be planted once. The Wandering Across the World function has been activated, and the specific functions can be understood by the host themselves. After listening to the introduction of the system, Ye Qiu was taken aback and instantly reacted. Isn't this the game that was popular all over the internet back then? Open the vegetable garden. There are only 3 open spaces above, and there is still a part covered with weeds that has not been developed yet. It seems that after planting and harvesting, one needs to gain certain experience upgrades in order to develop more land. Ye Qiu has experience in this game. After all, he also played it back then. But what is this world travel feature? Curiously click into the vegetable garden. The next second, the figure instantly disappeared into place, as if wandering in a void, entering a world of nothingness. Hiss. Looking at the land in front of him, Ye Qiu took a deep breath. Isn't this his vegetable garden? Around the vegetable garden, there is a fence surrounding it, and at the entrance, there is a portal, which seems to be the passage to travel to the world. Good guy, really farming. After studying for a long time, Ye Qiu couldn't help but feel disappointed. With these few pieces of land, what can be grown? Stay skeptical. However, the system just prompted that the precious medicine and spiritual medicine grown through this land can increase its yield up to 10,000 times. Wait a moment. If I plant a spiritual medicine on top, can I get 10, even 100, 10,000 spiritual medicines? Ye Qiu suddenly had a bold guess in his heart. If it was really possible, then his Qingyun Peak would realize the freedom of spiritual medicine from now on. As soon as this thought came out, Ye Qiu's heart trembled violently. You should know, the rarity of this spiritual medicine, even if it is a great holy land like the heavenly tonifying Holy Land. Not much either. Moreover, most of them are concentrated in the hands of the heads of each pulse, and according to their considerations, select some of the more outstanding disciples from among the many for allocation. Why are there few disciples in Qingyun Peak? It's because of poverty that I can't afford to raise any extra disciples, and I feel like it's hard to raise them all. Therefore, several generations ago, the first seat was chosen not for quantity, but for quality, opening up a tradition of single transmission. But ultimately, they are still poor, with no extra resources to provide for their disciples to cultivate, and their strength is declining from generation to generation. After continuous evolution, it has become Just alive, quality doesn't matter anymore. Chapter 2. Hello, Big Breath. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If this problem can really be solved, it can make up for the predicament Ye Qiu is currently facing. And surplus precious medicines and spiritual medicines can also be sold to other mountain ranges. When the time comes, let alone offering a monthly confession to Lu Ruyan and Edo Cheng, even if we recruit dozens more miscellaneous disciples, it won't be a problem. After thinking about this clearly, Ye Qiu's melancholy in her heart was instantly swept away. What comes with it is contentment, a relaxed body, he. To become bigger and stronger, and create brilliance again. There's nothing wrong with farming, I was born to love farming. There was no longer the initial resistance, and at this moment, Ye Qiu was full of fighting spirit. But now there is another issue before us, which is Ye Qiu doesn't have any seeds in her hands. So even if he wants to farm, it's difficult for him to operate. Well, we can only take a look at what this so-called world travel feature is really useful for. Looking at the portal, Ye Qiu felt lost in thought. If he guessed correctly, this door would be the gateway to travel to the heavens and all realms. However, Ye Qiu is not sure what kind of world is behind the door. Come on. Let me see what's behind this door. Stepping into the portal, the next second, a vast void appeared in front of Ye Qiu. In front of him were countless teleportation gates flickering with dots of light, with strange names marked on them. Walking to the first one, Ye Qiu looked up and saw that it was written on it. A nameless viewer, observer. It doesn't sound very impressive, let's see what he's planting. Ye Qiu murmured to himself and walked in to take a look. He found that he was planting a very tall tree, with more than 10 small fruits scattered on it. It seems that it has just bloomed and borne fruit, and based on its appearance, it is completely impossible to tell what it is. Click on his personal signature, which reads, Immortal Mansion of Eternal Life, with the same longevity as heaven. Oh! What an arrogant signature! I have never seen such an arrogant person before, he is so big. His tone is too loud, how dare he? Upon closer inspection, Ye Qiu suddenly frowned. How can there be a sense of familiarity? I feel a bit disorganized in my mind, possibly due to my recent travels, and my memory is chaotic. I couldn't recall where I had heard this sentence for a moment. But it's just very familiar. Let's take a look at the next one first. After thinking for a moment, Ye Qiu decided to leave because the fruit was not yet ripe and could not be stolen. Come and see again in a few days. I secretly remembered the name of this person's vegetable garden in my heart. Ye Qiu arrived at the entrance of the next cave and looked up at the name on her head. A 9 Heavens Supreme who refuses to be named. Click on the signature, it prominently reads. All sentient beings in the 3 realms, I am the only one standing tall, sleeping trough. This one is even more suspenseful. The breath is too strong. I'd like to see what you've planted. Ye Qiu immediately walked into his vegetable garden, and what caught his eye was a lush peach orchard with thousands of trees. There are a lot of peaches growing on top, but the peaches are relatively small and in an immature state. Peaches. Ye Qiu was stunned and looked at the peach orchard filled with fairy mist. Suddenly disappointed, what's so strange about peaches? Monkeys like to eat peaches, it's boring, the quality is average, but the tone is quite impressive. 9 Heavens Supreme. Why don't you just call yourself the Jade Emperor? That's so arrogant. Based on Ye Qiu's years of online writing experience, it is known that the more impressive a character is, the more low-key it is. It's not like them, crazy and boundless. In summary, these two people. Generally trying to steal vegetables again, I found. Failed again. The fruit is not yet ripe. I have to work hard. Next one. After leaving the cave again, Ye Qiu continued to wander several more caves. I roughly understand what this so-called travel is all about. Through that shuttle door, Ye Qiu can enter the vegetable garden of the master of the cave and view some of the crops he has planted. If the crops are ripe, Ye Qiu can steal vegetables and steal the ripe fruits. If it is not mature, stealing vegetables cannot be done. Moreover, in case the farmer discovers, Ye Qiu cannot stay inside for too long. Okay, strolling around for half a day. Nothing. After circling around, Ye Qiu gradually lost some patience. The several caves visited one after another had more and more peculiar names. There is a child named Bear, and the vegetable garden is not filled with elixirs, but with a chicken. I don't know what that chicken is for, but it looks quite strange with fiery red feathers all over its body. There is also one, whose name is gentle and sweet, called Qingyun Na Hao Jiao. She planted a row of alpine azaleas. That thing is nothing but good. Looking. After circling around, Ye Qiu realized that she had gained nothing and suddenly felt anxious. I finally came out for a trip. If I didn't bring something back, wouldn't it be in vain? No way. We have to continue reading. Is Ye Qiu unwilling to continue walking to the next cave? Looking up, it was prominently written. The Fairy of the Moon. Seeing this name, Ye Qiu's eyes lit up instantly. Okay, that's all for you. As she stepped into the cave, a cold chill suddenly struck, causing Ye Qiu to shiver uncontrollably. Looking around, a familiar vegetable garden appeared in his sight. Above, there are various exotic flowers and plants planted. A little closer, Ye Qiu can feel a strong spiritual energy emanating from those exotic flowers and plants. Good thing. After wandering around for so long, I finally saw something truly valuable. It seems that the owner of this vegetable garden still has some strength. Based on some memories in her mind, Ye Qiu briefly analyzed and her gaze instantly locked onto one of the grass plants. Xianhan grass. The thing that grew on the ground, resembling Chinese cabbage, was recognized by Ye Qiu at a glance. It's the advanced treasure medicine, Xianhan grass. Possessing the power of extreme yin and extreme cold, it can be consumed to refine the body, making it the best medicinal herb for cultivation in mountain-moving environments. My gaze turned to the second plant, which looked like a carrot, half embedded in the soil, revealing a faint fiery red light of the elixir. Ye Qiu's heart was suddenly startled. Isn't this the legendary treasure medicine, 9-leaf red ginseng? In Ye Qiu's memory, there was a record of this precious medicine in Qingyun's secret stories and classics. Over the years, due to the poor foundation, there has been little progress in cultivation. So he has read many strange stories in the world, among which there is a scripture introducing this top-notch treasure medicine. 9-leaf red ginseng, although resembling carrots in appearance, contains immense power. If one can eat it, it can forge tendons and bones, and improve physical strength. For Ye Qiu's current mountain-moving environment, it is the best premium medicinal herb. Immediately, Ye Qiu opened the system interface and clicked the Steal Vegetables button. The next second, the two precious medicinal seeds entered Ye Qiu's warehouse directly. Applying oil on the soles of her feet, Ye Qiu didn't stay for another minute and just ran away, and at the same time on the Tianwai Guanghan Palace, a beautiful woman standing in front of a vegetable garden, looking at the two suddenly empty pits, fell into a moment of contemplation. She was dressed in white, holding a rabbit in her arms, emitting a cold aura all over her body. Just standing there was enough to captivate countless beings looking at the two dirt pits in the ground. She couldn't help but frown and whispered, "Who is it?" It seems that there are very few people visiting her outside this day, and besides one who chops trees, she has never seen anyone else's figure. Who would be so idle and run to Guanghan Palace to steal a carrot and cabbage? Which immortal is living such a miserable life? Unexpectedly fell to the point of grabbing food from the jade rabbit. After much contemplation in my heart, is it that monkey? Among the three realms, it seems that only that monkey can do such a thing, right? Forget it. Let's put it on the monkey's account first. Anyway, he has a lot of bad debts and can't figure it out through investigation. At this moment, Ye Qiu had already fled with his spoils of war. Haha. It feels so great to be a thief. Top quality treasure medicine. Breaking through the stunning mountain realm now is just around the corner. After stealing vegetables, a seed of 9-leaf red ginseng and xianhan grass was quietly lying in Ye Qiu's warehouse. He needs to replant his own vegetable garden and wait for it to mature before he can achieve an increase in yield. At that time, a 9-leaf red ginseng may become 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 directly achieve wealth freedom in one wave. At that time, hehe. Want to cancel my Qingyun Peak? You have to spend money to support me. After leaving the vegetable garden of Zhongyue Ferry, Ye Qiu still wants to explore further. Ding. To unlock a wider world, you need to reach the stunning mountain realm before you can unlock it. Upon hearing the system prompt, Ye Qiu was immediately disappointed. It seems that there are still too few vegetable gardens to explore now, and except for this one called Zhongyue Ferry, the rest of the vegetable gardens have yielded nothing. The most eye-catching thing for Ye Qiu was the chicken raised by the bear child, although she didn't know what its purpose was. In Ye Qiu's understanding, he had never seen such a strange chicken before. He seriously suspected that it was a very rare and precious bird. Well, that's all for this trip. Come back next time. Glancing over the several caves she had passed before, Ye Qiu secretly remembered the vegetable garden she would visit next time in her heart. Returning to the garden, Ye Qiu immediately began planting and planted the 9-leaf red ginseng and xianhan grass in her own garden. After taking a look at the growth cycle indicated by the system, it takes an hour to wait. This growth cycle is determined by the quality of the seeds, and the more precious the medicinal material, the longer the growth cycle takes. After understanding this point, Ye Qiu became a bit worried, although the growth cycle was already short enough due to the reduction of system space. But if in the future you obtain some more precious spiritual medicines, even elixirs, immortals, isn't that waiting for hundreds or even thousands of years? Fortunately, after the vegetable garden level is upgraded, it can once again accelerate the time flow and shorten the growth cycle, which is good news. After careful study, Ye Qiu finally breathed a sigh of relief. The level of the vegetable garden increases with Ye Qiu's cultivation. Chapter 3, Call Me the First Seat. Why suddenly became full? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The screen flashed, and Ye Qiu appeared again on Qingyun Peak, the same place as before. After repeated attempts, Ye Qiu finally understood that this vegetable garden was quite an independent space exclusive to him. As long as his mind moves, he can enter at any time and anywhere. Interestingly, in that case, in the future, whenever there is any disturbance, I can directly enter the vegetable garden to avoid it. This is actually a good choice. Senior brother. Just as she was about to return to the dojo to rest, the voice of Lu Ruyan came from behind, and Ye Qiu turned around to look. I found those two children rushing up the mountain, exhausted and panting heavily. Call me the first real person. Looking at their restless appearance, Ye Qiu replied with great dissatisfaction. Lu Ruyan pursed her lips, sweating profusely as she struggled to climb up, and said, Didn't you still fall for it? Sooner or later. Ye Qiu was dissatisfied and added, Besides, the agency's first seat is also the first seat. Lu Ruyan was choked, but she didn't want to argue about this issue. She quickly changed her voice and said, Yes, 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 the first real person. I can't help roast that your master hasn't left yet. You are a bit worried. You are truly filial. Where did you two slack off if you didn't work hard? Ye Qiu glanced at them, not to blame them, after all, during the most difficult time at Qingyun Peak. They took the initiative to take on the work of Qingyun Peak. Even though they were delayed in their monthly payment for a month, they still diligently cleaned the house. It's really rare. Lu Ruyan is not very old, probably around 15 years old, and Ito Cheng is 1 year younger than her. Ye Qiu had a rough understanding of their origins. They came from the wilderness, but due to the attacks of fierce beasts on their tribe, their families were destroyed. He was saved by an elder who happened to pass by and brought him up the mountain to become a miscellaneous disciple in the heaven-mending pavilion. They are very hard-working, but their qualifications are average and their resources are limited. After 5 years of cultivation, it is only a realm of moving mountains to 2 levels. Ye Qiu also heard that they were often bullied by the older servants when they were in the mixed service courtyard, so the 2 people who shared the same illness relied on each other and huddled together to keep warm. When they learned that Qingyun Peak was recruiting miscellaneous disciples and everyone was avoiding them, they resolutely chose to take on this task. It can also be considered as a distance from right and wrong. After all, Qingyun Peak is a place where birds don't defecate, except for an unlucky master and a wrongly bred disciple. Not many people would bully them either. I'm exhausted. After climbing the mountain, Qing lay sprawled on the slate, completely disregarding his image. It's obvious that I've been asking for information everywhere, running around for a long time, and I'm tired. Lu Ruyan is a bit better, after all, her cultivation is 1 level higher than Qing. She took a heavy breath and said, I just went to inquire with Xiaocheng. I heard from the disciples of the inner sect that each lineage has its head. The elder proposed to remove the Qingyun Peak lineage, but the eldest elder resisted the public opinion and saved Qingyun Peak. I have decided to observe for 3 years and then see the situation. Upon hearing this, Ye Qiu immediately smiled. 3 years. Is there plenty of time? After a moment of contemplation, Ye Qiu praised, you did a good job. Qingyun Peak, need talents like you to continue to maintain. Follow me and become an inner disciple. It's just around the corner. You must believe that today's efforts are all laying the groundwork for tomorrow's success, and in time, you will surely become one of those countless beings. Upon hearing these words, Qing lying on the ground and Lu Ruyan gasping for breath immediately lifted their heads to look at Ye Qiu. Why am I a little full? I didn't eat anything today either. Qing said with a puzzled expression. Lu Ruyan's handsome little face was also puzzled and nodded in agreement. They haven't eaten anything for the whole day today, and for some reason, they suddenly became full, as if they had eaten a cake. Sister Ruyan, can we really become inner disciples? Qing naively said that he was too eager to become an inner disciple. Because inner disciples can enter the star-picking tower of the heavenly mending Holy Land and learn powerful treasure techniques, and the inner disciples in Holy Land distribute certain resources to them every month for cultivation, and they can also enter the secret realm for cultivation. Almost every miscellaneous disciple has a dream in their heart, which is to upgrade to a prestigious inner disciple and enjoy more resources. After careful consideration, Lu Ruyan said, Xiaocheng, we must believe. The heavens will not mistreat us. As long as we work hard and work hard enough, one day we will become disciples of the inner sect. Watching their reaction, Ye Qiu sneered and said, cut. Just this little bit of success. What is a mere disciple of an inner sect? You need to have greater ideals and a broader world. Don't worry. You can follow me steadfastly. Under the leadership of my great Qingyun Peak agent, one day, even the entire wilderness will have a foothold for you. Wow! Is there really that day? The first real person, I'll do it with you. Upon hearing these words, Qing's eyes immediately became straight. He has always had a dream in his heart, which is to become the most powerful person in the world, and to become the proud son of heaven that attracts attention. Upon hearing Ye Qiu's words, he immediately stood up from the ground as if he had been beaten with chicken blood, his clear eyes filled with fighting spirit. Lu Ruyan is relatively better, but she is also embellished by Ye Qiu's ambitious ambition. She does not want to become a highly regarded and proud woman. This is her dream and also the belief that supports her continuous progress. Looking at Ye Qiu, his figure suddenly became tall and majestic. Yes. We want to become the proud sons of heaven that attract attention, work hard, and strive. Lu Ruyan clenched her fist as if she had made up her mind. For the sake of her dreams, she can endure any hardship and any grievance. Watching the two of them fighting with high spirits, Ye Qiu felt very pleased and said in a bold tone, "Yes. It's this kind of energy, charge forward. If in the future, Ling Yunji dares to laugh at Huang Chao's lack of husband. If we want to do it, let's make it the best in the world." Hiss. As soon as they said this, the two of them took a deep breath. What a big breath. But at this moment, he is tall and upright, like a true immortal. Between soft words, like being struck by lightning, heavy blows hit the hearts of the two. If one day I succeed in my ambition, I dare to laugh at Huang Chao for not being a husband. God, you're too domineering. But who is Huang Chao? Lu Ruyan was shocked and pale, as if she had met Ye Qiu on the first day, feeling that he had undergone changes from beginning to end. That ethereal aura, coupled with the domineering aura emanating from her speech, deeply shook her weak soul. What a fairy! First rate in the world. Charge! Ito Ching shouted, his blood boiling. He wished he could sweep 2 acres of land on the spot and express his fierce fighting spirit. Watching their performance, Ye Qiu knew in her heart that her goal had been achieved. At least in the short term, they shouldn't be indecisive. Why haven't they issued monthly payments yet? Hee, you're so clever like me. With a hint of joy in her heart, Ye Qiu immediately said, all right. Considering your excellent performance today, I'll give you a half-day off and go back to rest. However, remember to rest and not delay your cultivation. It should be noted that the plan for this day lies in the morning. Throughout history, many talented individuals have not achieved success through hard work. Heaven will not favor lazy people, only hard-working ones. As soon as these words were spoken, the two of them became even more excited. Roar. Effort, struggle. The dream of immortality is right in front of me. Their eyes were filled with fighting spirit, and they left the moon watchtower with a loud cry. Ye Qiu looked at their backs and fell into a moment of contemplation. Fate can be so cruel at times. If he hadn't been chosen by his master back then, his fate might have been even worse than these two children. It is also necessary to start from the bottom level, and one cannot help but lament that fate is full of misfortune. Shaking her head, Ye Qiu turned around and returned to her dojo. 1 hour later. Moving the mountain to 7 floors. It's been 2 years and there's no sign of any breakthrough. Awakening from her cultivation state, Ye Qiu frowned and felt the surging power in her body, but she couldn't feel happy at all. After an hour of research, he discovered something. That is, the combat power of this world is very strong. Just in the realm of mountain moving, its power has reached an astonishing tens of thousands of pounds, and after reaching 10 levels of mountain moving, it can even reach the limit of 1 million pounds of force. Such combat power, placed in a certain world, may have already been penetrated, right? But unfortunately, in this world, moving mountains is only the first step towards cultivation. This can be considered good news. Because the strongest combat power that Ye Qiu desires in her heart can be achieved here. The bad news is that he now belongs to the bottom of the pyramid, the most garbage batch. Thinking of this, the corner of my mouth couldn't help but twitch. Silently operating the power within the body, constantly stimulating the blood in the body, washing the body, and trying to take another step forward. However, despite working hard for an hour, there has still been no progress. If Ye Qiu could never reach the realm of shaking mountains in his lifetime, he would not even be able to cultivate those powerful treasures. The sword in hand, symbolizing the head of Qingyun Peak, has become a decoration and is of no use. This body is not good. Otherwise, with my intelligence and talent, it will definitely not be limited to this. Summarized the reasons for several failed attempts to reach the realm, ultimately stemming from physical fitness. After all, everyone's physique is different. Why can someone break through several levels in a year, practice for 10 years, and directly open up a cave? It is because of their innate talent and innate sacredness that they are born as mountains rather than streams. This is something that can't be done, but that doesn't mean Ye Qiu will give up on it. He doesn't have a natural communion, but he does have it. With the refinement of precious and spiritual medicines, one can continuously improve their own roots, bones, and body, which can also be compensated by the day after tomorrow. Ding, your vegetables are already ripe, would you like to pick them? Chapter 4. Jean forges bones, is there a guest visiting? You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the moment when the system prompted the sound, Ye Qiu suddenly opened her eyes and ended her practice. All the clichés are just self-comforting. What can truly change fate is this vegetable garden. It is also something that Ye Qiu has been silently waiting for. Collect. Ding, congratulations, under your careful care, this planting has yielded a bountiful harvest. Obtain 500 xianhan grass. Obtain 109 leaf red ginseng. Beautiful, bountiful harvest. Ye Qiu's eyes were burning as he looked at the quiet xianhan grass and 9 leaf red ginseng lying in the warehouse. Take out a xianhan grass and 9 leaf red ginseng, and Ye Qiu ponders for a moment, good thing. Looking at the two precious medicines with full spiritual energy in her hand, Ye Qiu's mouth slightly curved upwards. The treasure medicine, which has been replanted in the vegetable garden, seems to have become even more powerful in terms of efficacy. The terrifying power contained within it is even more astonishing. After hesitating for a moment, Ye Qiu chose to eat it directly because in order to refine it into a pill, she needed many rare precious medicines, precious blood under current conditions, it is not enough to achieve. So eating directly is the best choice, and by improving your cultivation, you can explore a wider world. Take both precious medicines in one breath. In an instant. Two powerful forces rushed into Ye Qiu's body, intertwined between her 4 limbs and body, one cold and the other hot, tearing at Ye Qiu's flesh. Hiss. The tearing pain made Ye Qiu cry out in agony, but compared to his strong strength, this small pain is nothing. The skin was oozing blood, and the bone power in the body gradually emerged with a golden glow. Ye Qiuqiang endured the pain, gritted his teeth and insisted, shouting, Zhen. I saw a primitive bone script emerge, surrounding Ye Qiu's body, and at this moment, all his qi and blood seemed to boil. Sweeping through her body, at this moment, Ye Qiu felt an unprecedented frenzy. Blood and flesh are constantly devouring these two forces, and in this long torment, Ye Qiu is constantly absorbing strength. Under the terrifying impact of medicinal effects, Ye Qiu constantly cleanses her body, forging bones and tendons. Absorb the power of xianhan grass and 9 leaf red ginseng. In this long process of training and agony, my cultivation has continued to rise, breaking through several small realms in a row. The physical body has been forged to a terrifying level. One day later in the early morning, the sun was shining brightly, and in the desolate Qingyun Peak, outside the empty hall, only 2 teenagers were listlessly cleaning the fallen leaves. A stream of light flickered in the sky, and a young man in white clothes landed on the platform of the Qingyun Peak dojo. Isn't that the unparalleled senior brother of Shofeng? It seems like he came yesterday to call for the first real person. Why did he come again today? Lu Ruyan and Ito Ching whispered to each other, feeling very curious when faced with the sudden arrival of Li Wushuang. In theory, didn't yesterday's meeting come to an end? Has the elder changed his mind again? With a hint of unease, Lu Ruyan looked at the tightly closed door, which was Ye Qiu's dojo. But it seems like he hasn't gotten up yet, and he can't help but feel a bit anxious in his heart. Standing at the door of the dojo, Li Wushuang frowned as he looked at the desolate dojo. It's too cold. Except for 2 miscellaneous disciples who were sweeping the floor, the entire mountain peak was empty. Compared to the hustle and bustle of other areas, this place can be said to be a place where birds don't poop. He couldn't help but wonder, how could such a great holy land as the heavenly Holy Land allow such a useless mountain range to exist? Although I am puzzled in my heart, I dare not feel any neglect in my heart. Although I am down and out, I am still the head of a family in name. How did the upper authorities decide? It's not up to him as a disciple to meddle in his own affairs. Disciple, Li Wushuang. Please meet the first real person. Compared to the words of Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng, Li Wushuang appears much more polite. Undoubtedly, people who come out of the first peak have many rules. As soon as the words fell, with a bang, the locked door suddenly opened. When it reappeared, Ye Qiu suddenly appeared wearing a red and white matching outfit, and her entire temperament changed. A faint and elusive spiritual energy surrounding the body is difficult to conceal. Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng were both dumbfounded. No. How come I have the illusion that after a day without seeing you, our first real person seems to have become much stronger? Ito Cheng looked shocked and dared not set up a channel. Lu Ruyan remained relatively calm for a moment, carefully analyzed it, and said, "It's not an illusion, it's just becoming stronger." Is what he said yesterday true? I can't believe it, in just one day, his aura has become so powerful. Standing on the steps, Ye Qiu's eyes lit up like flames as she strode out, exuding a confident aura all over her body. Moving mountains in 10 realms. At the moment when Li Wushuang felt the change in Ye Qiu's breath, his heart trembled. When he came a while ago, Ye Qiuming was only able to move the mountain to the 7th floor. How come in just a few days, Ye Qiu suddenly turned into a 10-story moving mountain? I was greatly shocked in my heart, you should know. If it weren't for that innate supreme, the progress of ordinary people's cultivation would be very slow. Usually, breaking through a certain level in a month is considered remarkable. How could Ye Qiu reach the 10th floor of the mountain moving so quickly? Can you say that in the past few years, he has been gathering momentum and ready to take action, just waiting for one day, to make a big splash? Li Wushuang was taken aback by the secret speculation in his heart. God, Qianlong. He has seen such things before, just like Senior Qi from Qingyun Peak, who sharpens his sword every 10 years. Everyone thinks he's a waste, and he never cares about all the ridicule and humiliation in his daily life. After 8 years of cultivation, I am still wandering in the realm of moving mountains. But no one expected that in the next 2 years, he would break records consecutively and sprint to the 10th floor of Shaiyue Mountain. Now, 5 caves have been opened up, becoming the proud son of heaven among the holy sites for repairing the heavens, attracting widespread attention. It can be said to be a stunning achievement. And those who humiliated him in the past have now been left far behind by him. At the thought of this, Li Wushuang was even more shocked. Could it be that Qingyun Peak also has such a hidden dragon? After enduring for 10 years, waiting for this amazing moment. The more he thought about it, the more frightened he became. Li Wushuang instantly became much more low-key. After all these years of wandering in the heavenly land, he was not a fool. I have never looked down upon anyone, and always act impartially, being kind to others, and being polite. Even small trash like Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng were treated very politely. When he came yesterday, he didn't see Ye Qiu because he was sleeping. It was Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng who entertained him, and he never said anything to mock them. He cannot guarantee that the insignificant person he looks down on today will soar to the top of him in the future. If he offends, it will be him who suffers. Because of this, in the hearts of Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng, this senior brother Li is a very close person. I left a very good impression. Disciple Li Wushuang, I have seen the first real person. Upon seeing Ye Qiu's appearance, Li Wushuang quickly bowed. Even though Ye Qiu was only acting as the head seat, he still called out one real person after another. Ye Qiu felt extremely at ease as he shouted one by one with real people. I thought to myself. This kid, he's quite up to the point. I'll just say, sooner or later this Qingyun Peak will belong to me. It's just some old scoundrel who just doesn't leave, occupies the pit and doesn't poop for so many years. Haven't I been handling all the affairs of the peak, big and small? Some old scoundrel hasn't done anything before. Who else can handle this first seat besides me? Looking at Li Wushuang's gaze, there was an instant of relief. A child can be taught. Chapter 5. I'm not the first seat, you found the wrong person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hee hee. With a faint smile in her heart, Ye Qiu remained calm on the surface and spoke in a plain tone, exuding an elegant demeanor. She said, so it's unparalleled. What's the matter with me? Li Wushuang almost choked. Is this still holding the title of agent, and this seat has already been addressed first? But it doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with him. He is only responsible for conveying messages. It's like this, the first real person. Yesterday, the Grand Elder held a meeting with the other branches to discuss whether Qingyun Peak should retain the inheritance of one branch. There is already a result. Under the strong opposition of the Grand Elder, it has been decided to retain the Qingyun Peak Daoist Temple. Upon hearing this, Ye Qiu smiled slightly and said, I am already aware of this matter. However. With a change in art style, Ye Qiu frowned slightly. Is there still a pit in it? Li Wushuang said, the elders of each pulse are very dissatisfied with this result. They all spoke up one after another, saying that Qingyun Peak has never done anything practical in all these years, which is like occupying a pit and not giving a confession for several years. How could that be? They are just dogs and mice meddling in their own affairs. What did the elder say? Ye Qiu was immediately displeased. He didn't do anything. When the fierce beasts rebelled, his master ran up and down, responsible for the rear battlefield and pacifying the people. I'm so busy that I don't even have time to take a sip of water, almost exhausted. Is this called doing something practical? Although compared to other mountain ranges, fighting with blood and stubbornly resisting the beast tide, it is indeed a bit lacking in rank. But as the old saying goes, without stability in the rear, how can there be soldiers in the front who focus on killing the enemy in fight with blood? Is this called not doing anything practical? The more I think about Ye Qiu, the less confident she feels in her heart. Well. It's true that she hasn't done anything practical. Under pressure from various sources, the elder had no choice but to make Qingyun Peak the first, within 3 months. Solve the potential danger of Zhuxian town. Li Wushuang honestly conveyed the elder's decree, and upon hearing this, Ye Qiu was taken aback for a moment. Zhuxian town. What danger is it? In my memory, this small town seems to be 100,000 miles away from Qingyun Peak. If you fly, you can reach it in at most half an hour. However, Ye Qiu has not yet mastered the ability to fly, because this thing needs to reach the shaking mountain realm and cultivate spiritual power in her body before she can practice, but it's also fast. At his current pace of progress, in less than 3 days, he will definitely be able to reach the mountain shaking realm. When the time comes, he wants to practice flying skills isn't that easy to catch. But now this is not what Ye Qiu is most concerned about. What attracts his attention the most is what Li Wushuang just said. Zhuxian town, potential danger. What danger is it? Upon hearing this, Li Wushuang honestly replied, looking back at this real person, a while ago, the people of a small town came up the mountain. He said that the small town is often attacked by a fierce beast, causing people to struggle and countless deaths and injuries. Several disciples of my head peak have also gone down the mountain to inquire, and there is indeed a fierce beast there. Moreover, it appears to be an ancient relic. As soon as these words were spoken, Ye Qiu's face suddenly changed. Ancient heritage species. If it were just an ordinary ferocious beast, it wouldn't make Ye Qiu afraid. But if it's an ancient relic, then the problem is huge. That ancient relic, due to its bloodline, was born with powerful magical powers, and its power was even more astonishing. The more pure the bloodline, the stronger the strength. Even in the same realm, it can crush any human cultivator. Unless you are also a legendary figure born supreme, capable of breaking limits in various realms. Ye Qiu remained silent as he listened quietly to Li Wushuang's continued report, saying, "My senior brothers from Shofeng have also tried to fight against them, but without a doubt, they all suffered a disastrous defeat and returned home. Although that ancient relic is a young cub and not yet an adult. But its power is boundless, and it possesses unique skills, lightning divine ability, and extremely fast speed. My senior brothers who shook the mountains in the first peak were all injured by them. Unfortunately, Therefore, the people of Zhuxian town have petitioned to my heavenly holy land, requesting that my holy land send out great powers to subdue demons and restore peace to the town." After listening to the ins and outs, Ye Qiu probably already has a clear idea. Seeing his unchanged expression, Li Wushuang couldn't help but be secretly surprised. It seems that he guessed right. The new head of Qingyun Peak is indeed a hidden dragon. Just like Senior Qi from Zhangjianfeng, he sharpened his sword for 10 years and made a stunning achievement. I couldn't help but be shocked in my heart. I didn't expect this small Qingyun Peak to still hide such a fierce character. It seems that this trivial matter is nothing to him. I couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief and said, "Therefore, the elder has issued a decree to make Qingyun Peak the first and to quell the rebellion in Zhuxian town within 3 months. The sooner, the better. Otherwise, it will damage my power to repair the sky." Ye Qiu nodded, indicating that she heard it. Li Wushuang also breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that he had already expressed himself very clearly. Then he asked, "When will the first real person depart?" "Ah. Departing. What's going on?" Li Wushuang looked at Ye Qiu with a surprised expression on his face and thought to himself, "Am I not expressing myself clearly enough? It's impossible, I've already made it very clear." Feeling puzzled, Li Wushuang reminded him again, "The first real person, elder, has ordered you to go down the mountain to quell the rebellion." "What's the first real person?" "You got the wrong person, I'm just an agent." Ye Qiu replied very seriously, emphasizing the word agent, in particular. Li Wushuang's mouth twitched and he was at a loss, which was not quite what he had imagined. "Agent. Of course I know you are an agent, but the question is, you didn't call from your seat earlier, did you call smoothly? I thought to myself, when I shouted earlier, you didn't refuse either. Instead, you looked very happy. How could this change its mind? Besides, the entire heavenly salvation holy land, who doesn't know, it will be a matter of time before you become a full-time employee. Why bother with those 1 or 2 days? This. Li Wushuang is in a difficult situation. He actually wants to find Qi Daosheng, but the problem is that the old man has been locked up. Who knows if he can still come out alive? I don't know if you are the first one, disciple. Anyway, my message has been transmitted, so you can take care of it." So, without stopping, Li Wushuang finished conveying the message and turned around to leave directly. Watching his rapid departure, Ye Qiu suddenly became anxious. "Hey! Don't leave. I'll take you to knock on the door of the old rascal, and then you can convey the instructions of the elder to him." Ye Qiu's voice echoed in the mountains, but Li Wushuang had already disappeared without a trace. Done. With both hands spread out, Ye Qiu sat directly on the steps. Unexpectedly, the location of this first seat is still a hot potato. I thought it was something good. This is it. Ancient heritage species. Don't make a fuss, even if 10 Ye Qiu are tied together, they can't beat it. Even if he ties his master again, it's probably an additional meal. What should I do? Hey, pretending to be coercive can harm people. It seems that we can't just pretend to be coercive in the future. I felt a sigh in my heart, but the situation is not absolute yet. Although the ancient heritage is very strong, the elder has given it at least 3 months of time. 3 months. Maybe we can give it a try. Thinking to herself, Ye Qiu probably had a clear idea why she suddenly came down with such a task. Chapter 6. The Heavenly General descends his great responsibility to the people of sea. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. It's nothing more than other pulse heads that are full and full. I can't bear to see Qingyun Peak occupying such a large spiritual vein and doing nothing, and I haven't confessed for several years. I want to take this opportunity to let Qingyun Peak disappear on its own. When Qi Daoxing burps his fart, if Ye Qiu dies tragically in the hands of the Taikui Zhang, this lineage will become extinct. Okay, let's play like this. A hint of coldness flashed in Ye Qiu's eyes, and her gaze turned to several mountains in the distance. He is well aware of which mountain ranges are targeting him like this, but now is not the time for revenge. Let's first think of a way to break the game. The decree directly issued from the elder, no matter how difficult the task may be, must be followed by all meridians and cannot be resisted. So, even if Ye Qiu didn't want to accept it in her heart anymore, she had to accept it. What kind of thing is it, Pisho? Kuei-nyo? Or Swan and I? Just now, Li Wushuang didn't explain clearly. Regarding the ancient relic species in Zhuxian town, Ye Qiu doesn't know exactly what kind of beast it is. Time is tight, the elder gave Ye Qiu 3 months, which is equivalent to giving her a chance to catch her breath. Because Qi Dao's life and death levels are within these 3 months, if he can successfully break through the realm and open up the cave. So, it's not a big deal to just have a young Taiku heritage cub that shakes the mountains. But if Qi Daoxing cannot break the calamity, then these 3 months will be Ye Qiu's last good day. The first real person. What's wrong with you? I don't know why, but when I hear this title now, Ye Qiu just feels harsh. Watching Lu Rian and Ito Ching approach cautiously with a worried expression. Ye Qiu's eyes twitched, and suddenly she had a plan in her mind. Wait a moment. The elder only said that he wanted me to quell the turmoil in Zhuxian town, but he didn't say that he must let me go in person. Hiss. Thinking of this, Ye Qiu's eyes instantly became hot. Looking at the 2 young men in front of me, full of tenderness, as if looking at my younger brother and sister. Seeing this gaze, Lu Rian instantly became alert and pulled Ito Ching away from Ye Qiu at least 5 meters away. Hee, little girl, you're quite cautious. Not bad. With such a heart, you'll definitely become a great player in the future. Upon hearing this, Lu Rian's heart was filled with joy, but she still didn't dare to approach. She cautiously said, the first real person, what did senior brother Li tell you just now? They were far away just now and didn't hear clearly. I vaguely heard something about the Grand Elder, something about the ancient heritage. I can't hear what happened specifically. Ye Qiu smiled faintly and said, it's nothing, it's just some trivial matters. By the way, I see that you all have excellent bones and are unparalleled cultivators. Are you interested in joining my Qingyun sect? As soon as these words were spoken, a bright light flashed in the eyes of Lu Rian and Ito Cheng. What? Is it difficult? Ye Qiu wants to take them as disciples. What does this mean? It means that they will take off the title of miscellaneous servant disciple and become disciples passed down by the Qingyun sect. That's what many people dream of. Once they become their own disciples, it means they can obtain more resources. It seems that Qingyun Peak doesn't have much resources and can't even generate monthly supply. But it's not important, what's important is that they can have access to Qingyun Peak, a powerful treasure technique collected by ancestors throughout history. As long as they have talent, enough insight, and those so-called powerful treasures, isn't that what they want to learn? Immediately, they reacted and knelt down in front of Ye Qiu, brushing their brush together. Disciple, Lu Rian. Disciple Ito Cheng. Goodbye master. Dang Dang made 3 loud noises, causing Ye Qiu to feel pain from knocking. She covered her forehead and couldn't bear to look straight at her. It seems that my charm is still very powerful. Immediately standing up from the steps, Ye Qiu looked down and stood with her hands down. Suddenly, that tall figure added a bit of oppression unconsciously. You too, don't be too happy too early. I haven't made a decision yet, so I'll take you under my command. I just feel that you have a good heart, and even in adversity, you are not willing to be ordinary, just because of this perseverance. I have decided to give you a chance. As soon as these words were spoken, Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng became instantly excited. What they lack is such an opportunity. After working as a laborer in the heavenly land for 5 years, I couldn't see the end at a glance and couldn't see any hope. How they yearn for this opportunity. But now, Ye Qiu is willing to give them such a chance, which is a great kindness. Inner gratitude surged into her heart, and Lu Ruyan's eyes turned red, mixed with tears. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Even if we risk our lives, we will not disappoint the real person. The fierce fighting spirit in his heart completely ignited the young man's passion. Okay. Having ambition. As the saying goes, heaven will bestow great responsibilities on this person. We must first work hard on our hearts and minds, strain our muscles and bones, starve our bodies and skin, and feel empty and weak in our bodies. To complete this test in this seat, you still need to work hard and the time is tight. If it cannot be completed, it proves that you are just empty talk and have no ambition. Under a series of bombings, the two of them were instantly boiling with blood and their eyes blazing. Test. Humph, this is just a small hurdle for me to move towards longevity. I, Lu Ruyan, am destined to become that stunning woman in the world. How can I remain depressed for a long time? Although a real person can rest assured, even if they give 10 times or 100 times more pain, Lu Ruyan will never frown. The girl's gaze was firm, and her handsome little face was full of strong aspirations. Ito Cheng turned around and glanced at her, then said, I'm the same. Lu Ruyan slowly said again, the immortal gave me the immortal machine, just like reincarnating parents. From today on, my life is the immortal's life. On horseback, but driven by force. Ito Cheng glanced at her again and said, I'm the same. Immortal, please accept my disciples' worship. Bang dang, it's another noise. At this moment, Lu Ruyan is more sober than ever before. She knew that if she didn't seize this opportunity, she wouldn't be able to get away with it for the rest of her life. Ito Cheng is no different. Although he is not as intelligent as Lu Ruyan, his innocent heart is not mixed with any filth. He only knows that whoever gives him food, he will sacrifice his life for him. He will repay whoever is good to him 10 times or 100 times. Okay. I believe you can complete this test and become disciples of Qingyun sect smoothly. Starting from today, you will practice with me, and within a month, I will make you the admired ones of all my peers. However, this month will also be the most painful for you. I hope you don't exaggerate and can't hold on for a day. Don't worry, even if you die, it's just a matter of closing your eyes. Ruyan will never say a word. No. Lu Ruyan's gaze was firm. Me too. Ito Cheng then said. Looking at the two teenagers with hot eyes, Ye Qiu felt very relieved in her heart. Great. Today, you guys go back and rest first. Tomorrow morning, I will be waiting for you here, and the following month will be an unforgettable one for you all. Yes, real person. I'm leaving, disciple. The two of them retreated in unison, watching as they left, and Ye Qiu quickly slipped into the sutra pavilion. Chapter 7. A Master of Bargaining, a Pot of Chaotic Stewing. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Time is running out. Quick battle and quick decision. Searching back and forth among various classics, Ye Qiu climbed up and down, and after searching for a long time, finally found what she was looking for. Wash marrow soup. Ha, it's you. Holding the scriptures in her hand, Ye Qiu showed an evil smile and gradually became unrestrained. Wash marrow soup, also known as devil's bone refining soup, requires 100 types of precious medicines and is made by boiling various ferocious beast precious blood. Boil over high heat for a day, then simmer on low heat for 3 days and 3 nights to open up the meridians of the body's limbs and bones, hone the roots and bones, and make the body perfect. Glancing at the 499 xianhan grass and 99 9-leaf red ginseng in the warehouse. In order to complete this task, Ye Qiu gritted her teeth. Done. Immediately, he arrived alone in the treasure pavilion of Shofeng, where it was the place for offering sacrifices and also a large trading venue for disciples of various lineages. You can hand over the precious medicines, blood, and other items you have obtained to the Holy Land and exchange them for gold coins, copper coins, etc. It is worth mentioning that in Ye Qiu's memory, there is no such thing as spirit stones in this world. There is only one type of currency circulating between the Holy Land of the immortal family and ordinary people, which is gold coins, copper coins, etc. There is no other special significance. The only function is trading, similar to RMB. The precious medicine and blood submitted will enter the trading ground of the treasure pavilion, and you can purchase the desired medicinal herbs according to your needs. Ye Qiu had a clear goal and went straight to the acquisition platform. Sitting on it was an elder named Shofeng, whom Ye Qiu knew and seemed to be called Elder Su with a white beard on his face. He looks like a fairy tale. Oh! Rare guests! Isn't this the first representative seat of Qingyun Peak? How come you have time to come to my place today? As soon as he saw Ye Qiu rushing towards him, Elder Su's old face instantly gave way to a smile. Ye Qiu was too lazy to talk nonsense to him, so he threw a xianhan grass directly onto his table and immediately sat down. What is the acquisition price for this thing? Elder Su was stunned for a moment, his gaze fixed on the xianhan grass, and his heart was startled. Rare goods. Advanced treasure medicine xianhan grass. This kind of thing is rare. According to the normal purchase price of advanced treasure medicine, it can sell for 500 gold coins. However, considering its rarity, I'll give you 600. Elder Su is quite kind and has not engaged in any behavior of overcharging guests. After all, this is the trading ground of the Holy Land, and the things he purchases are also used for the Holy Land, and there is no private ownership. And mainly, the ones who came today are rare guests. This xianhan grass is probably all the property of Qingyun Peak, right? Elder Su also couldn't bear it in his heart. Anyway, there's only one tree left. Give it to him, it doesn't matter. Are you sure that one tree can sell for 600? Can I still trick you? It's just a small amount of money. Elder Su was completely indifferent. Ye Qiu's mouth curved slightly upwards, revealing a hint of evil smile. Pa-ji in an instant, 300 xianhan grass appeared in front of Elder Su. The whole table was packed, and Elder Su's eyes instantly widened like a bell hiss. You. Did you rob the mountain bandits? Elder Su looked surprised, even at a loss. He thought that Ye Qiu was just one tree, and thought to himself that if he harvested 600, he would harvest it. Who would have thought that he suddenly pulled out so much? 300, 600. That's a total of 180,000 yuan. Stop talking nonsense, give me the money. Joke, how could the mountain bandits have so many advanced treasures? I stole them with my skills. No, I planted it myself. Can I tell you this? Elder Su suddenly became numb and began to argue with Ye Qiu based on reason. After all, this 180,000 is not a minority. If this were really charged at a high price, he would probably be at a loss. In the end, under Ye Qiu's 3-inch tongue, he fought hard for an hour and successfully locked the price at 170,000 yuan, resulting in a successful transaction. Suddenly, Ye Qiu's originally empty wallet bulged. Walking is always light and graceful. Hee, is this the feeling of making money? It's really enjoyable. I secretly felt happy in my heart. It seems that I need to do more to steal vegetables. After having money, Ye Qiu wandered around the treasure trove, searching for the materials she was looking for. After spending over an hour, I finally bought all the ingredients needed for the pulp washing soup. Wash marrow soup requires a total of 100 medicinal herbs, among which several rare medicinal herbs are needed, such as 9-leaf red ginseng, red flame red plant, and some ancient precious blood, etc. 9-leaf red ginseng and autumn leaves are already available, so there is no need to buy them. However, the other precious medicines are very rare and expensive. Ye Qiu walked around and, relying on the bargaining skills she learned from a market lady in her past life, bought 10 sets of ingredients needed for washing marrow soup. A total of 50,000 gold was spent, not too much. Within Ye Qiu's acceptance range. As for the 9-leaf red ginseng, he has no intention of selling it. After all, it is a top-notch treasure medicine and extremely rare. Let's keep it for now. Maybe it can still be used in the future. Take a slow walk to the first seat of the agency, come again next time. After sweating profusely and sending Ye Qiu away, Elder Su wiped the sweat off his forehead. After working in this industry for so many years, it is still the first time he has encountered an opponent. I don't know who he learned from, but his combat power is surprisingly strong. With his 300 gold ferocious beast treasure blood, he managed to cut it down to 200. Elder Su has been in the industry for so many years, and he has never seen someone so capable of bargaining before. When it comes to placing the head of other veins, people feel that bargaining is a very cost-effective behavior, and they disdain to bargain. This guy is so good. He just came up with a cliché and said that if the quality of the goods is a bit poor, at least they need to be reduced by 50%. The precious blood has been shelved for so long, won't it expire? That needs to be further reduced. Roast constantly in his heart, Elder Su saw what a bargain master is today. Later on, he will also learn. When the mountain goes to other chambers of commerce to purchase goods, he will also learn from Ye Qiu's method, which may save a lot of money. At this time, Ye Qiu had already returned to Qingyun Peak. Time is tight, he doesn't have time to chat with Elder Su after purchasing the materials. Ye Qiu plunged directly into the alchemy room, searched for a while, and finally moved out 2 large cauldrons. These 2 cauldrons were originally the first treasures used for alchemy in the previous years of Qingyun Peak, but they have since declined from generation to generation due to these first cauldrons. Slowly, not to mention alchemy, cooking soup takes a lot of effort. These things have also been stored in the warehouse, generating dust. After tidying up everything, Ye Qiu dragged it directly to the square, set up a stove, poured in spring water, and boiled it directly. Hee. Add star anise, longan, Sichuan pepper, and simmer over high heat. After 1 hour, add the ferocious beast's treasure blood, treasure medicine, and then simmer it. It's not difficult either, it's similar to hot pot. Ye Qiu carefully studied the brewing method of Shi Sui Tang and found that this recipe is not difficult. The difficult thing is that these materials are really difficult to handle. Especially the 9-leaf red ginseng, which is rare in the wilderness and particularly difficult to obtain. So few people use marrow washing soup to hone their flesh, which is easy to muscle and forge bones. However, this difficulty is clearly not a problem for Ye Qiu. What he doesn't lack the most is the top-notch treasure medicine of 9-leaf red ginseng. After all, there were still many in the fairy's vegetable garden during that month. When it matures next time, go steal another wave. Boil it. After putting all the ingredients into it, Ye Qiu immediately simmered on high heat, and suddenly, smoke from the cooking on Qingyun Peak. Chapter 8, I didn't expect it. I'm here again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Almost amazing. Seeing the sizzling sound of the boiling pulp washing soup in the pot, Ye Qiu felt that her strength was not enough. Although the current marrow washing soup has reached perfection, what Ye Qiu wants to pursue is the limit. As for whether those two unjust seeds can withstand it or not, Ye Qiu can't care anymore. After all, if you want to become someone, how can you not pay a price? We still need a strong medicine. After a moment of contemplation in her heart, Ye Qiu instantly disappeared into place, and the next second, she had already arrived in the vegetable garden. Looking at the empty vegetable field, Ye Qiu decided to plant something, but unfortunately, the number of trips today was not enough. Ye Qiu walked into the portal again. It's still the familiar scene, but this time there are a few new caves. As usual, Ye Qiu first strolled through the caves he had previously explored to see if the fruits were ripe. Unfortunately, none of them are familiar. Did the bear child's chicken lay eggs? Ye Qiu's eyes suddenly lit up. Eggs. Should be useful, right? After pondering for a moment, Ye Qiu finally decided that the thief would not leave empty with just one click to steal. Ye Qiu turned around and drove away directly. At this moment, on a barren land with sparse population, there is only one small village located here. In the center of the village, a willow tree has sprouted a tender green branch, as if rejuvenated. A child at a young age, counting his eggs carefully. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's no 8. I remember there were 8. The little nanny's face was full of confusion, her eyes rolled, and she counted again. Why is one missing? Who stole my precious eggs? In an instant, the bear child became furious. He has always been the only one who snatches someone else's, and no one dares to snatch his head. In an instant, golden bone inscriptions appeared, and a powerful force swept up a raging wind. Who would have thought that there was such a huge ability hidden within that small body? After calming down, he couldn't help but wonder, is it Mao Qiu who did it? No matter what, put it in its account first. On the other hand, Ye Qiu had already arrived at the second cave, which was the familiar cave of the Moon Fairy. At this time, several xianhan grass and 9-leaf red ginseng were replanted in the vegetable field of the Moon Fairy. Besides, there was nothing else new, and Ye Qiu couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. How do you feel? The owner of this vegetable garden specializes in growing things that rabbits like to eat. Is it difficult for her to keep rabbits? Ye Qiu couldn't help but suspect, just like the guy named Jiutian Supreme, whose tone was so wild that those who didn't know thought he was the Jade Emperor. To all sentient beings in the 3 realms, I am the only one who respects. TSK, average. The louder the tone, the less capable it is. And what does he plant? Peaches. Monkeys like it, it's boring. Leaving the vegetable garden of Zhongyue Fairy, Ye Qiu arrived at the next garden, which was a few caves that suddenly appeared after his cultivation broke through to the 10th level of moving mountains. There is no name marked on it. The system explains that this is an unowned vegetable garden. Unknown world, unknown region. Places that have not been explored yet. Ye Qiu walked slowly in, and in the next second, he was suddenly covered in a cold sweat. How come there are still guardian beasts? The guy guarding the vegetable garden is a vicious dog with huge fangs and a fierce face. It patrols the vegetable garden back and forth, and if anyone dares to approach, it definitely pounced on you in the first place, biting you hard. What a powerful aura, at least in terms of strength, right? Ye Qiu took a deep breath and silently withdrew from the garden. It seemed that this unowned garden was more dangerous than having an owner. Taking a glance at the precious medicine in the garden, Ye Qiu was immediately taken aback. Is this fire red lotus? When Ye Qiu saw the fiery red lotus clearly, she was stunned and her eyes became fiery. Superior spiritual medicine. Oh my goodness, this unowned land really has treasures. Ye Qiu felt a sense of joy in his heart. This fiery red lotus was exactly the powerful medicine he was looking for. Going down on this plant would definitely make those two little ones scream. If we can rely on the devastation of the fire red lotus, its physical strength will reach a terrifying level. Not only that, but once the fire red lotus is quenched, their bodies can withstand the scorching heat and fire, greatly enhancing their defense. Thinking of this, Ye Qiu withdrew her withdrawal foot and hesitated. Such a strong ingredient, if you can get it, not only can it increase the efficacy of the wash marrow soup, but it also has excellent effects when used for cultivation. Now his cultivation has reached the 10th level of moving mountains and has reached the bottleneck. If we can obtain a fiery red lotus, what bottleneck is there to talk about? Breaking through the stunning mountain realm is just around the corner. However, this vicious dog may not be easy to deal with. With Ye Qiu's current strength, it is almost impossible to deal with a fierce beast that shakes the mountain realm. The treasure is right in front of me. If I don't take it, I'll know if it's still there the next time I come back. After pondering for a long time, Ye Qiu finally decided to take risks. Since I can't beat you, then I'll have to be clever. Taking out the previously purchased ferocious beast bone stick from the warehouse, Ye Qiu quietly approached the vegetable garden and threw the big bone stick directly behind the big black dog while it was not noticed. Roar! Upon hearing the commotion, the big black dog instantly revealed its fangs and stared intently at the large bone stick on the ground. After being stunned for a second, my eyes suddenly lit up and I pounced on the big bone, biting it hard and unable to put it down. Hee, I'm sorry. It's reasonable for you to eat bones while I take red lotus, isn't it? Seeing it being led away by the big bone stick, Ye Qiu immediately showed an evil smile and gradually became reckless. At the moment it turned around, Ye Qiu quietly approached the vegetable garden. Steal. Ding. Congratulations on successfully stealing vegetables. Please note that your behavior has angered the guardian beast. If you don't want to be bitten by it for a lifetime, run. Young man. With just one click, the fiery red lotus in the garden disappeared without a trace. As the system beeped, Ye Qiu suddenly looked up and saw the big black dog grinning at him. Sleeping trough. If something's not going well, I'll sneak away first as a gesture of respect. Roar. A roaring and angry voice came. The big black dog became angry and flew over 10 meters, biting directly at Ye Qiu's clothes. Foolish dog, I'll go get you. Ye Qiu turned around and kicked the big black dog 10 meters away with a fierce kick. Ow! The intense pain made the big black dog scream, but it quickly recovered. A black aura instantly enveloped Ye Qiu's body, leaving her eyes dazed. Are you taking it seriously? The powerful magic rune, emitting a crackling sound, is precisely the innate magic power of that big black dog. At the moment of using the treasure technique, the strength of the big black dog instantly increased several times. Its powerful aura made Ye Qiu feel a chilling sensation. Damn it, who are you scaring? Are you scared to be a young master? Ye Qiu became angry and pushed with both hands, instantly unleashing a powerful force within her body, causing her clothes to explode on the ground. The surging force was rolling, blood was boiling, and the big black dog seemed to feel a hint of danger, revealing an alert gaze. Humph, you still have a bit of backbone. A man of integrity, just now openly and decisively fought me to the death. The big black dog couldn't help but look up at Ye Qiu a few times in its heart. It decided to give this ignorant human a dignified way of death. In mutual gaze, neither side acted recklessly and circled around the vegetable garden. When Ye Qiu walked around the cave entrance, a smile unconsciously appeared at the corner of her mouth. Hey, silly dog. Goodbye to you. As soon as the words fell, Ye Qiu disappeared directly into the black void, leaving behind a big black dog with a bewildered expression. I have never seen such a shameless person before. It had thought that Ye Qiu would have a true man's 1v1 battle with it, but it never expected it. This person has no bottom line, their clothes are all blown up. Those who didn't know thought he was going to do a big job. The big black dog, who had reacted, suddenly realized that it had been played with and roared angrily. Shame. A great shame and disgrace. Think of me as the dog god, who was bullied by a weak human today. A sense of shame surged in its heart, and it became angry. His gaze once again turned to the flesh and bones on the ground, and he pounced and bit them, as if it were the vegetable thief. Chapter 9. The whole body is soft, but the mouth is hard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And at this moment Ye Qiu had already returned to his vegetable garden panting heavily, wiping the sweat off his forehead. Ha! It seems we need to work harder. At least improve our strength first, otherwise it's not easy to steal vegetables in the future. Moving 10 floors, it's still too weak. Although Ye Qiu's strength at this moment has reached hundreds of thousands of pounds, it may be invincible in other worlds. For example, in a world that uses soul rings, why not kill indiscriminately? But not here. Any monster that comes out is much stronger than him. Just a big black dog, it's enough to make Ye Qiu suffer. Ah! I breathed a long sigh of relief, and overall, the harvest this time was quite good. Not only did I harvest a fire lotus seed, but I also obtained an unknown egg. First, take out the egg that was just stolen, and Ye Qiu studied it in her hand for a while. We are currently parsing for you, congratulations, you have obtained one of the 8 treasure chicken eggs from ancient times. Can be hatched. Do you want to start hatching, 8 rare chickens? Ye Qiu was taken aback, and the corner of her mouth couldn't help but slightly lift, revealing an excited smile. Is it which one is it? Huh, good and good, 8 treasure chicken. This thing, Ye Qiu is too familiar with it. It not only has delicious meat, but also is a rare delicacy in the world. Moreover, it has another powerful effect, which is to stimulate the medicinal properties of other precious and spiritual medicines. Improving its effectiveness greatly enhances the efficacy of the medicine. I didn't expect that the chicken raised by the bear child was actually the legendary 8 treasure chicken. Ye Qiu, is this an unexpected joy? The most important thing is that this thing can still hatch, and Ye Qiu doesn't know what it can hatch. Give it a try first. Incubate. Immediately click on the system incubation function, and the egg slowly falls into a chicken coop next to the garden. Incubation in progress. Time required. 3 hours. 3 hours. It's okay too. Let it go for now, look back and see what kind of thing can hatch, preferably a rooster, and then go to the bear child's place to steal a few hens. When the time comes. Hee. Ye Qiu is particularly evil. This thing is a top-notch catalyst, and it is already delicious. If used in combination with other medicinal herbs. Ye Qiu has confidence, within a month. I will take the head of a dog from ancient times. Retrieving his gaze, he took out his first trophy, and the seed of the fiery red lotus had already appeared in Ye Qiu's hand. This is a good thing. The several decoctions that Ye Qiu needs to boil in the future all require this as a strong ingredient. It's better to do a 10,000-fold critical strike. I really don't want to, 1,000 times is also possible, more is better. We are planting for you, fire red lotus, growth cycle. 2 hours. 2 hours, it's not too slow. After placing these 2 things, Ye Qiu turned around and left the vegetable garden, reappearing in the Qingyun Daochang. Looking at the pot in front of me, it was burning fiercely, and the hot water was making a gurgling sound, occasionally cracking with a small explosion. Ye Qiu felt intimidated just by looking at her colorful appearance. After all, after adding 100 medicinal herbs and boiling them over high heat for a day and a night, even if the immortals come, they have to lie down. This movement attracted both Lu Ruyan and Ito Cheng, who carefully hid behind the tree. Looking at that big pot, I felt a chill in my heart. Sister Ruyan, isn't this thing prepared for us? Ito Cheng was a bit scared, but this scene reminded him of the scene of the tribe killing pigs during the Chinese New Year. It's also a pot of hot water, pour it directly onto the pig, and then start shaving. As soon as he thought of that scene, his whole body trembled with excitement. Lu Ruyan looked at him with disdain and said, "Humph, coward. I, Lu Ruyan, am someone who wants to become a peerless empress. Even if there are swords, mountains, and fires, I am not afraid. The path of immortality is already a painful journey, with millions of people fighting for a divine opportunity and losing their heads and blood. If you don't have enough perseverance and courage, how can you fight those people?" After listening to Lu Ruyan's passionate speech, Ito Cheng felt ashamed and embarrassed. He is a handsome man, but he can't compare to a weak woman. No way. Ito Shin, but how can I be defeated by a small pot of hot soup to become a first-class man in the world? A fierce fighting spirit surged in his heart, and Ito Cheng swept away all the previous fears with a firm gaze. Looking at Lu Ruyan, she was suddenly taken aback and said, "Sister Ruyan, why do I feel your legs trembling?" "Nonsense." Lu Ruyan's face turned cold as she denied it and said, "Perhaps it was caused by the cold wind on this mountain. I have suffered a bit of wind chill, so it's not a problem." As the two were whispering, Ye Qiu walked over and looked at them, saying, "What are you whispering about?" "Ah. I pay my respects to the first real person." The two of them quickly walked out from behind the tree when they were discovered. Ye Qiu looked at their pale faces and couldn't help but show a hint of evil smile, gradually becoming reckless. "Very puzzled, right? Hee, you should be able to think of it." "That's right. This is prepared for you, are you surprised or not?" At the moment of verifying their conjecture, the two children's faces turned pale with a shudder, and the speed of light turned pale. "Really cooked? Is it not a joke? Is it cooked live?" Even though I was mentally prepared, I was still startled when I heard this news. "Why, are you afraid?" Who's afraid?" "I'm not afraid, it's just a pot of hot soup, isn't it? I'm Lu Ruyan, but I'm not afraid of becoming the peerless empress." "Me too." Ye Qiu remained silent, with a smile on his face, staring straight at them. "Are you really not afraid?" "Not afraid." Lu Ruyan trembled her legs and gritted her teeth as she answered. "That little mouth is really hard. My whole body is soft, except for that mouth, which is not as hard as usual." However, Ye Qiu could see her determination at that time. In order to change her life against the heavens, even if she risked her life, she fought hard. This persistence, this drive, is very attractive. Ye Qiu admired their backbone and immediately said, "That's great. I just like the way you guys look like dead ducks with hard mouths. Keep it up. Since you're here, let's leave this to you. From now on, add firewood to it every other hour and don't let the fire weaken. This pot of soup has consumed 100 precious medicines and blood of mine. It's worth 50,000 gold. If the efficacy is compromised, it's your own loss." As soon as she said this, Lu Ruyan's eyes widened instantly. 50,000 gold. Hiss. Is this still the first real person she is familiar with? Is this still the first Qingyun Peak agency that can't even provide a monthly supply of 5 copper coins? Lu Ruyan was shocked, and Ito Cheng was also shocked. 50,000 gold. That's a huge sum of money they can never make in their lifetime. The first real person. Surprisingly, he spent a lot of money brewing this strange medicinal soup for them. Such great kindness cannot be repaid for a lifetime. At that moment, their eyes became incredibly firm. Perhaps in the hearts of the two children, this is their living father. Chapter 10. Passing Mosquitoes Get 2 Paps. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Watching Ye Qiu leave, Lu Ruyan immediately brought a chair and sat in front of the big pot, watching intently. That murderous gaze, there is no doubt that any mosquito passing by would be slapped by her twice. This is a treasure medicine worth 50,000 gold, which she may not be able to come into contact with in her lifetime. Humph, I won't sleep tonight. If anyone dares to touch my soup, I'll fight him hard. Me too. Two small figures stood under the sunset, guarding the pot of washed marrow soup. Lu Ruyan believes that this pot of soup is her only chance to change her fate against the heavens. If anyone dares to touch it, it is touching her life. In the girl's heart, there was an invisible and massive figure, standing under the sunset. In a daze, it was like a beam of light illuminating the darkness within her. Over the past 5 years, all the grievances and bullying she has endured, she has walked over alone gritting her teeth. She never complained a word, as if in her heart, as long as she worked hard enough and persisted, heaven would never treat her unfairly. After enduring countless seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter, and countless cold nights, the darkness deep within her welcomed a dawn. Watching Ye Qiu's departing figure, her eyes were filled with tears, but she remained silent. Cheng felt her emotional changes and worried, "Sister Ruyan, what's wrong with you? Small town. We're going to get through it soon. Are you happy?" In the cold tone of the girl, there was a hint of sadness. After careful consideration for a long time, Cheng said, "Happy. Sister Ruyan, we have been waiting for so many years, isn't it just waiting for this day?" "Yeah, we're waiting." Looking at the red glow under the sunset, Lu Ruyan slowly said, "Small town, we are already lowly and hardworking people. If it weren't for Qingyun Peak and the first real person, we would only be able to endure a lifetime of hardship in the mixed labor courtyard. To be a person, we must not forget our roots. We must remember that in the darkest moments of our lives, it was Qingyun Peak, the first real person, who gave us the first light in life. I hope you remember, in the future. No matter what happens, don't forget today." Lu Ruyan spoke very seriously, and in her heart, Cheng was like her own younger brother. The two relied on each other for 5 years, and she always protected this foolish and naive younger brother, teaching him the principles of being a good person. Upon hearing Lu Ruyan's words, Cheng fell into a brief moment of contemplation. He had a pure nature and didn't understand so many twists and turns. He only knows one thing: who is good to him, give him food, and he will use his life to protect that person. Back then, when he was beaten and bleeding in the mixed service courtyard, it was Lu Ruyan who protected him and gave him food to eat. From that moment on, in his heart, Lu Ruyan was the most important person in his life. He was the only person who gave him warmth during the darkest moments of his life. He is willing to protect her for a lifetime, even if he sacrifices his life. But now, in his small heart, there seems to be another figure, a man who always likes to wear white clothes and stand in the sunshine, with a smile on his face. "Okay, Sister Ruyan. Remember, little town. The first true person treats us with great kindness. Even if we risk our lives in the future, I, Cheng, will swear to protect Qingyun Peak and the first true person to the death." Makoto swore to the sky with sincere eyes. Watching his increasingly tall figure, Lu Ruyan smiled with relief. In the dojo, Ye Qiu looked down through the window, and the thick smoke-filled Qingyun mountain range was accompanied by a red glow. At the edge of the sky, several cranes fly in unison, showcasing the scenery of the immortal family under the afterglow of the setting sun. Looking at the two small figures in the square, Ye Qiu fell into a moment of contemplation. He doesn't know if his actions are correct. But now, there is no room for turning back. If they really win, perhaps in the future they can truly become a powerful and world-renowned supreme figure. Returning to bed, Ye Qiu sat cross-legged and began practicing. Yesterday, after being baptized by 2 precious medicines, his cultivation has reached the 10th level of moving mountains, but unfortunately, he has encountered a bottleneck. The power of the 2 precious medicines is still somewhat inadequate, unable to smoothly overcome the bottleneck. Taking out 2 precious herbs from the warehouse again, shaking her head, Ye Qiu did not consume them again. Because I have already eaten 2 plants before, eating them again will not have much effect unless I use another method, such as using a magical soup like wash marrow soup. Stimulate all the medicinal effects of the treasure medicine and integrate the power of other treasure medicines, allowing the body's flesh and blood to absorb it, and its power can be further enhanced by several levels. 500,000 pounds. Hee. It's still a bit short. Smiling bitterly in my heart, this is the difference between the mortal body and the innate divine body. If those who were born with the Holy Communion had already reached 1,000,000 pounds in strength when they moved the mountain 10 layers. This is where their abnormality lies, because their physical strength is not at all the same as that of ordinary people. In the same realm, why can geniuses surpass their peers and become invincible? The reason lies here. Ye Qiu has read many ancient texts and records, which record many methods for improving physical fitness in later life. Although he can't catch up with those people now, it doesn't mean he won't be able to catch up in the future, just lay a solid foundation now. Through the vegetable-stealing system, collect more precious and spiritual medicines, improve the body, lay a solid foundation, and achieve the perfect state. By then, what a damn genius. Step all under your feet. One night passed quickly. That night, Ye Qiu did nothing but continuously refine her body, absorbing all the medicinal effects of the previous 2 precious herbs. Its strength also successfully reached 550,000 kilograms. He's not in a hurry to break through. Although moving mountains is only the first threshold for entering cultivation, it is also an extremely important realm. Ye Qiu needs to lay a solid foundation and completely stabilize in this realm. After the physical strength improves, consider the next step. When a white fish belly appeared on the horizon, Ye Qiu finally woke up from her sleep and looked through the window. I saw 2 figures rushing back and forth in front of the boiler in the square, occasionally adding firewood inside. It seems that they didn't sleep that night. Dedicated and responsible. Under Lu Ruiyan's feet, even hundreds of mosquitoes died, all trying to get close to the wash marrow soup. These mosquitoes, who don't know how to survive, actually want to compete with me, such as the Smoke Emperor, for the immortal machine. Seeking death. Lu Ruiyan slapped and killed hundreds of mosquitoes in one night, driving her crazy. Don't say they want to get their fingers washed with marrow soup, even if they just pass by, Lu Ruiyan can kill them without fail. Ye Qiu watched as they were busy and calculated the time. There were still a few hours left until the marrow washing soup was cooked. Moreover, that thing still lacked a strong ingredient and immediately entered the vegetable garden. Ding, your fire lotus is already ripe, would you like to pick it? Extract. Congratulations, you have obtained 300 fire red lotus plants, 300. Haha. Okay, this wave, blood earned. Although there are not as many as 11,000 plants as I imagined, 300 plants are already scary enough. Enough for Ye Qiu to squander for a while. Looking at the chicken coop by the vegetable garden, I saw a 8 treasure chicken with red feathers all over its body, quietly lying in the coop, looking at Ye Qiu weakly. Sleeping trough. You won't starve to death, will you? That chick is still very small, but its fiery red scales are very beautiful. Just by looking at the design, it gives people a very impressive visual experience.